yummy balls. They are extremely delicious. Everyone, pets and aliens, eat yummy balls. They will arrest you if you hate it.
When I was 14 years old, I got caught trying to sneak out during the middle of the night. And so as punishment, my parents decided to lock me in a small room with every single priest from our local church for 3 hours. I was never the same again after that. Anyways, the other day I asked you guys to tell me about the craziest ways your parents have tried to discipline you. After I got caught looking at gooning material, my parents threatened to send me to my uncle in Russia. My uncle is a convicted child diddler and my parents knew that. I was so scared and I begged them not to send me. In the end, they just took away my phone for a month. I think I was 12 when that happened. Jesus, having an uncle in Russia who is a convicted child diddler, sometimes that comes in handy for the parents. So I guess now you guys will always behave. So I guess now you and your siblings, even the cousins, will behave forever. Because they know if they misbehave, if they step out of line once, then they're getting sent straight to the diddler in Russia. So honestly, that's a decent scare tactics. But at the same time, if they ever do send you to the diddler in Russia, that would actually be horrible. And so honestly, I think it's a calm confession because I know they will never send you to the diddler in Russia. But if they did send you to the diddler in Russia, then you might need to get out and just escape from your house and just get away from there. When I was 9 years old, I hated this girl in my elementary school. One day in school, I was really constipated, but instead of drinking the laxatives the nurse gave me, I put the packet of laxatives in the annoying girl's pink water bottle. And she drank the whole thing and spent all of maths class pooing her brains out, sprawled in the middle of the floor in the classroom. I went home feeling smug until I realized the kids saw me do it and reported it to the principal, who called my uncle. My uncle was not happy and forced me to grab 3 massive pieces of our severely emaciated dog's poo off the front lawn and eat them. It tasted very skibbity. Bro, you enjoyed it? You enjoyed eating your dog's poo? So let me guess, you're gonna do this again. Next time you're constipated in school, you're gonna put the laxatives in someone else's, not this annoying girl's, like some random dude's bottle. Because you're gonna look for any excuse to eat your dog's poo off the lawn and like just be completely normal. But I'm pretty sure this is illegal. This is spiking, isn't it? Like you literally spiked this annoying girl's water. And she didn't even have time to get to the bathroom. She started pooing in the middle of the classroom. That would have smelled so bad. I'm surprised you didn't start getting on the floor yourself and start licking all the poo off the floor like a vacuum cleaner. Because based on this, it sort of seems like you like the taste of poo, which is a little bit strange. But honestly, this punishment is, potentially even stranger. Like, why would your uncle force you to eat poo? You need some help. You need some mental help, and also you need to call Child Protective Services. Back in the good old days when I still had my Nintendo DS, yes, I am as old as you, I was playing Mario Kart when my mother decided to shout at me for not cleaning my laundry and stating that I should grow up. I had enough of everyone that day and decided I am the Alpha Sigma male and decided to insult her and threaten her. What she did was take my DS, proceed to break it, and state that I will never amount to anything if I kept this type of activity up. So what did I do? I picked up the pieces of the DS and fed microbits to our dog, feeling only rage, unaware that this would be bad because I was too blinded by rage. The dog died that month and she still doesn't know to this day that it was me, or technically her. Bro, what do you mean technically her? This was you. Who thinks of feeding their broken DS to their pet dog? Of course that's going to kill him. Honestly, I think you have some anger management issues. You genuinely might have some anger management issues. How is that like actually your first thought? Because you are not the Alpha Sigma male. There is only one Alpha Sigma male, and it is me. But you said back in the good old days when you still had your Nintendo DS, so I assume this is like, when you were younger. Like maybe you were like, I don't know, 15 or something. But how can your mom tell you that you should grow up and get a job when you're 15? Like, yes, you can technically get a job, but like, it's not like, you've graduated college or something. But anyways, I don't think it's a calm punishment because she did break your DS, but at the same time, I think it is like definitely more reasonable than some other punishments. I'm just gonna say it's slightly questionable, but you need some help. You need to get get rid of that anger management issue. One time when I was 5 years old, I broke a glass plate and my mum made me go outside and take a massive dookie in the backyard. My neighbors were staring the whole time and I swear one of them got hard. Jesus Christ, you need to call the police on them and get them to search their hard drives. But why would your mom make you do this? To take a poo in the backyard like a dog? I've never heard of this before. Is this a common punishment? Because what's that meant to teach you? Like maybe that will embarrass you in front of people. But apart from that, it's just a bit of an inconvenience. Because then how are you meant to wipe? Maybe you wiped using your hand. Or maybe you just didn't wipe at all. Maybe you just let it crust. I mean, that's okay. I do that too sometimes. Even if I do have perfectly good toilet paper sitting right next to me. And so honestly, this one is slightly questionable. I don't really understand this one. When I was 10 years old, my parents would always threaten to cook me in a pot and feed it to my dog. The reason why they stopped saying that now is because I don't have a dog anymore. Wait, is the reason why you don't have a dog because your parents already cooked the dog and ate the dog? Like, they did the reverse. So instead of threatening to cook you and feed it to the dog, they threatened and successfully cooked the dog and fed it to you. Did you eat the dog? I swear, I bet you ate the dog yourself. I bet you intentionally ate the dog so that your parents could no longer threaten to cook you and feed you to the dog. Because if you eat the dog, then the dog can't eat you. If you eat the dog first, then there is no dog for you to be fed to. So honestly, this punishment is pretty calm, but eating dogs, that is not okay. You need to get out. Get out of here and go straight to... Is that jailable? Maybe not. Maybe it isn't. But still, just get out. So a couple of months ago, I just broke up with my boyfriend of 2 years, and then some time passed when I was single, until I met this girl that I'll call Samantha. Long story short, we began to go out together. I'm a girl, by the way. So last month, I went to tell my mum and stepdad that I was gay, and they said they were fine with it, and then they let me go. But then a couple of days later, I woke up to my stepdad fricking me and my mum watching it in the corner. I immediately punched him in the face and left. I now live with Samantha. P.S. I'm 18. Bro, okay, I mean, the fact that you're 18 doesn't really make it any, like, you know, it doesn't really, I mean, it does bring down the severity, but that is still pretty severe. What the frick is your stepdad doing? And your mom is watching as well, bro. Your mom is just as bad as the stepdad, so she is a bystander. She's enabling it. So basically, you got brutally diddled by your stepdad after he realized that you were gay, but... How does that make any sense? So maybe that's his way of punishing you, like brutally diddling you because you're gay? What type of an unsupportive stepdad is that? And so honestly, I was about to say you need to get out of that house, but it looks like you already did. You left the house and you now live with your girlfriend. So honestly, good on you. Like, get out. I was gonna say get out, but you've already gotten out. Once my parents made me kneel in coal on fire for 5 minutes because I was ganging up on the autistic boy at my school and I was shoving him into his lunch meal. And my friend pushed him over and made him land on the moldy floor. I got expelled and I have no regrets since that kid was annoying as frick and he never came back to my school. Bro, do not bully someone with autism because they have autism. Like, did you consider that maybe the reason why he was annoying was purely because, like, maybe it's like, it's not his fault, it's like, it's the autism's fault. And so maybe if you had just given him a chance and tried to understand things from his perspective, it wouldn't be so annoying. But what is this punishment? So you have to kneel on coal on fire for 5 minutes, bro. I guarantee you did not last 1 minute. I'm pretty sure anyone who tries to kneel on burning hot coal for more than 1 minute will just have, like, obliterated knees. Like, your knees are gonna be cooked beyond return. And so honestly, I think you deserve to get punished for bullying someone with autism, but at the same time, on coal, kneeling on coal, that's a bit too far. So I think you need to get some help. You need to call the Child Protective Services. So one day, I was peacefully gooning and both my mother and father walk in on me mid-goon. The thing is, when they walked in, I was releasing it, so it got over both of their faces. They were both pissed, so my dad yelled, "Alright, then how about we nut on your face, and let's say that night was not a good night." Bro, what is that punishment? So your punishment for gooning and accidentally releasing your homemade special sauce all over your parents' face is that your dad whips out his dingling and releases his homemade special sauce onto your face? That could have been another brother. Like, he could have used that special sauce to spawn in another brother. You could have had, like, another sibling or something. But instead, he uses his homemade special sauce to punish you. Okay, that is an insane punishment. This is not okay. I think you might need to get some help. You might need to call Child Protective Services, or maybe just get out of that house, just escape, run away. My parents hit me with the respect the house punishment. For a whole week, every time I walked into a room, I had to formally greet it like I was entering a royal palace. Like, I'd step into the kitchen and say, "Good morning, honorable kitchen. I appreciate your service. Living room, greetings, living room. Thank you for your comfort." If I forgot, my mom would make me go back out, walk in again, and do it properly. By day 3, I was bowing to furniture without thinking. Bro, what is your mom thinking? I don't think I've ever heard of this one before. Your mom might be a psycho. Like, she might have something wrong with her head. Has anyone else done this? Like, has anyone heard of this? Like, I understand, you know, being grateful and being appreciative, but being grateful to your room, your living room, is this like that game called Date Everything? Because I'm pretty sure in that game, I accidentally fricked the couch and I got the couch pregnant. Like, why are you saying good morning to your kitchen? Your kitchen's not gonna say good morning back. Unless your mom has schizophrenia and she's imagining your kitchen saying, like, good morning back to her and to you. So honestly, yeah, this is a little bit weird. It's slightly questionable, but if I were you, I'd probably, you know, arrange some sort of appointment with a therapist, a mental health therapist for your mother. Like, so I would probably ask you to get some help for her. My sister, who was like 20 years older than me, would threaten to sew my mouth if I did anything bad. Sometimes she would also say she would sew my ass too because I would randomly fart when I'm not supposed to. Bro, but like, you can't help yourself. We can't help ourselves when we fart. Like, if we gotta fart, like, we actually gotta fart. Like, I think holding it in would be so uncomfortable. Because then what happens? Are you meant to, like, burp it out? But I'm sure she was kidding. I'm sure she wouldn't actually, you know, sew your ass up. I hope she wouldn't do that. But just imagine if your ass was sewed up and you just couldn't poo. Like, you tried to poo and it just, like, oozed out, sort of like a filter. Because I assume it would be sewed so tightly that, like, you could probably do a diarrhea and it would filter all the poo and water, straight water would come out the end of it. So actually, that wouldn't be a bad invention. Like, if you're out in the desert and you need water, instead of, you know, like, trying to find water or digging down, you can just sew your ass up so tight that it acts like a filter. And then when you do wet diarrhea, just water comes through the filter. But anyways, this one's pretty calm. I think this is pretty calm. So one day, I got pissed at my dad because he said he was going to take my iPad if I kept using it for ages. And so I kicked him in the dingling, and he got so angry that he whipped out a long wooden stick, not his dingling, and he said it was going to beat me if I didn't run. And so I ran to my bedroom and he left me alone for now. Bro, why did you have to clarify that his long wooden stick was not his dingling? Like, what did you expect me to think? You thought I was gonna think that he whipped out his dingling and just started beating you with it as if it was like literally a long, hard wooden stick? I guarantee your dad's dingling isn't even long enough to be used as a long, hard wooden stick. He'd probably try to hit you with his dingling, but it would fall short by like, I don't know, 20 inches. He wouldn't be able to hit anyone with his tiny shrimp dingling. And also, I don't blame him for whipping out a long wooden stick because you literally kicked him in the nuts. If I got kicked in the nuts by my son, I would whip out an even longer long wooden stick. If I got kicked in the nuts by my child, I wouldn't whip out a long wooden stick, but instead I would whip out one of these. But anyways, this is a pretty calm punishment. But like, he only said he was going to take away your iPad. You can live without your iPad. My mum caught me skipping class, and after she found out, as soon as I got home, she made me cut the grass with mini scissors, and her and the principal made a deal to have an assembly. And so on a Monday, me and my mum and the principal were on the stage, and she said, "This is what happens when you skip class." Then she started whipping me with a belt, and I got made fun of for the rest of the week, and I still have the marks. Jesus. So you're telling me your mum specifically arranged an assembly in front of the whole school just to publicly whip you in front of everyone? What sort of psychopath behavior is that? Like, I get you skipped class, which is pretty bad, but is that so bad that you deserve like a public whipping? But she also makes you cut the grass with mini scissors. Okay, that would definitely do the job. Instead of using an actual lawnmower, you have to cut it with like manual scissors. But how is your principal going to agree to like arrange this assembly? Maybe your school has a really big problem with students skipping class often, and so maybe the principal wants to, you know, do some fear factor scaring into people. But this is kind of weird. This is very weird. I think you might need some help. You might need to get some help. If I were you, I might call Child Protective Services because of this incident. That is a bit strange. One time, my parents got so mad at me for sneaking out of the house that she decided to forcefully shove a spoon up my guyat. I have 3 holes now, and I still struggle to poop to this day. Bro, what the frick did your mom do to you? How did she make that hole? Where did that hole come from? So I assume you're a dude. So your first hole is your mouth, second hole is the guyat, but then the third hole. Where did she insert that hole? And this is all because you snuck out of the house. That is a pretty harmless thing. Sneaking out of the house, yes, it's pretty bad, but she just generates a third hole in you that makes you unable to poop. Because when you poop, I think how it works is that you generate some pressure there and then it's, you know, forces the poop out. But then now that you have a third hole, like, you can't generate pressure inside your intestines because all the pressure gets released out the third hole, wherever the third hole is. And a spoon as well. So like, wait, why a spoon? Did she literally scoop the poo out of your guyat and eat it? I'm pretty sure she probably ate it as well while she was down there. And so honestly, bro, you need to get out of that house. If I were you, I would probably, I would do a better job at sneaking out of the house, because you need to sneak out of that house and never return. Get out of there. One time in 4th grade, there was a trans girl. I didn't know what that was, and they were in the boys' bathroom. And so I said, this is the boys' bathroom. So me being me, I told the girl she's cheating and she can't have both sides. Then I called her the N-word. Then she reported me, and my dad told me if I ever did that again, he will show me what it's like to be cheating. Then he forced me to goon to your socks. I'm a goon in your nostrils and in your Adam's apple. Bro, what the frick did this turn into? How did this go from like being like in a boy's bathroom with a transgender girl to you gooning inside my nostrils and my Adam's apple? Is this even a punishment? Where was the punishment? And why would you call her the N-word? Like, when was race ever involved into this? So what punishment was even here? There is no punishment. Can I see any punishment? I don't think I can see any punishment. But why would you say that the girl is cheating and she can't have both sides? So you're saying that she's a girl and a boy at the same time, even though she's, you know, like literally transgendered into the female gender? I feel like that's probably the most insensitive thing you could say to like a transgender girl. Like, this is the most offensive thing, maybe, potentially. But anyways, I cannot spot any punishment in here, but I'm just gonna rank this based on your behavior. You need some help. This is not okay. You should never say this stuff. One time when I was 8, I dropped a vase while moving, so my mum kicked me in the balls and smashed a framed photo of my granny who died a year ago. Bro, what the frick did your granny do to deserve that? Your granny was a bystander. She didn't do anything. You were the one that dropped the vase. She did absolutely nothing in this situation. It was you who dropped the vase. The vase broke because of you. And so because of that, your granny gets destroyed by your mother? Why'd you have to drag your dead nan into this, bro? But maybe your mum kicked you on the balls because you dropping that vase caused her to drop the photo of her granny. And so maybe this is calm. I'd say this is this is calm. This is actually pretty calm, I think. So one time when I was 4 years old, me and my uncle used to always play Minecraft. So once I deleted his 2-year-old world and he got so pissed that he put me onto the house of the roof, forced me to hold onto a water bucket, and then threw me onto his trampoline and broke it. He thought the water bucket glitch would work in real life, so he tested it on me. And then his wife smacked him with the Minecraft toy diamond saw he bought me for $69. My father came and slapped my uncle twice and deleted his Minecraft app. It was on PS3. Years later, I moved on to have a better life in Minecraft. Bro, what is wrong with your uncle? Your uncle is so brain damaged that he thinks that the water bucket glitch works in real life. He thinks that if you jump off like a 20-story building and you just pour a bucket of water in real life at the ground, you can survive that fall. I think there is definitely something mentally wrong with your uncle. I think if I were you, I would probably stay away from that uncle. But at 4 years old, how do you somehow manage to delete his 2-year-old world? He made that world when you were literally 2 years old. Like, if someone deleted my 2-year-old Minecraft world, I would be pretty pissed. But at the same time, I would also have backups everywhere. It would be backed up every single week. And so honestly, that's kind of his fault. But this punishment of putting you on the roof and making you do the water bucket glitch, that is a slightly questionable. When I was 6 or 7 years old, I told my mum a joke, but she low-key didn't get it. And so I had to say a 10-minute long apology at the dinner table or they would sell my Xbox. Bro, how unfunny was your joke that they would threaten to sell your Xbox and force you to do a Logan Paul apology video? What sort of joke did you tell? Like, was it just a severely unfunny joke? Or maybe it was a dark humor joke? Maybe it was actually an offensive joke. You know what? I think maybe it was just a very, very, very bad... Maybe it was a racist joke. I think it could have been a racist joke. But if not, if it wasn't an offensive joke or a racist joke, I really do wonder what sort of joke you would have told to deserve a 10-minute long apology. How do you even come up with a joke that unfunny? And so honestly, if it was an unfunny joke, I think this is calm. Honestly, they should have made you do a 30-minute long apology. And they should have just sold your Xbox anyway, even after the apology. If I make a B in even one of my school classes, they will hit me with a hammer on my toe. I called Child Protective Services on them one time, but they didn't show up. I'm too scared to take a test anymore because I'm scared it will bring down my grade. I got a 49 in math once, and they put down my dog while I was at school and they didn't tell me. And I never got the chance to say goodbye. What? They literally killed your dog because you got a 49% in maths. How strict are your parents? Why are your parents this mad about, you getting good grades in school? Like, I understand getting good grades in school is pretty important, but at the same time, is it so important that they're gonna kill your dog over it? Or maybe your dog had some sort of disease, or maybe your dog got hit by a car, coincidentally got hit by a car while you were taking the test. But anyways, I bet when you were calling Child Protective Services, you probably sounded so young that they thought you were prank calling them. And so that's why they didn't show up. But getting a B isn't that bad. So your parents want you to get straight A's. They want you to get straight A's everything, okay? I mean, technically it's possible, but that is extremely hard. And so honestly, I think you need to get some help. You need to actually call Child Protective Services again and, just actually speak to them this time. Maybe get your auntie or uncle to call them for you. Once I had a pet snail because my mom was very afraid of anything with fur, so she didn't let me have a normal pet. One day, my mom found my pet snail Jeremy and got so angry that she stomped my pet snail in front of me and took my iPad away. This was very traumatic for a 9-year-old me. Jesus Christ. Okay, your mom might be a psycho. Your mom, what is wrong with her? Because why would she just murder that snail? Like, I feel like people in the world that just stomp on snails for no reason, like there is something wrong with their head. Like, even though it's just a snail, like it's still an animal. It had a family, it had everything. And the fact that she did it right in front of you, so you nurtured this pet for I don't know, like how many months, like maybe 3, 4 months, 6, 7 months, and you even named it, so you were pretty close with this pet, and then your mom just comes out of nowhere and just destroys it, just stomps it, like as if it's just nothing. She should have just taken away your iPad and left it at that instead of just brutally murdering your snail as well. So honestly, this one is slightly questionable. It's not that bad, but it's still a little bit questionable. One time my parents told me to play the top 10 hardest classical piano songs when I was 8. And if I didn't, they would take my electronics away for 3 weeks. I literally had to force myself to learn all of it. I don't think this is crazy to you, but it is for me. Bro, what do you mean by that? I don't think this is crazy for you, but it is for me. Do you think just because I'm Asian, I've already learnt how to play the top 10 hardest classical piano songs? And do you think I already learned how to play it when I was, I don't know, like 6 or 7 or something? Bro, just because I'm Asian doesn't mean I play piano, which, well, I mean, okay, I did play piano, like, honestly. I played piano, I learned all the classical hard songs. I actually did. I got up to, like, AMEB grade 6 or 7. I'm actually, I think I got to grade 6, AMEB grade 6. But anyways, you're 8 years old and you have to play 10 classical songs. I mean, you're 8 years old. That's like 2nd grade. I mean, I was doing that when I was like 5, 6 years old. But they're gonna take away your electronics for 3 weeks. That is like a lot shorter than I would have anticipated. I would have thought that like they'd take it away for like 3 years. And so honestly, I think the strat is to just not learn any of these songs and just tough out the 3 weeks. Just wait 3 weeks and then you get your electronics back. So this is a very calm punishment. This is the calmest punishment I've ever seen.